What's up, ego hackers? It is CS Joseph, and today we have typing random people. Not really, it's just more of just the winner of who got the typing live on YouTube thing. That's what we're doing. And today we are joined by Robert Barazza. And thank you for joining us, Robert. I think I unmuted you and the like. Happy to have you here with us this evening, sir, and we're going to be psychoanalyzing you and having lots of fun in this episode. Who knows what topics we'll talk about? Who knows how far into your past we'll delve? Who knows how far into your future we'll delve? Anything can happen at this point in time. So we're just here. We already got 18 people watching. Rando, that's fast and cool. Why not? I mean, why not ping the Discord? May as well, right? So we're gonna do that. I think I unmuted you and whatnot, but yeah, Robert, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, so yeah, my name's Robert. I'm 21 years old. I turned 22 in May. I had a very neuroplastic childhood, if that's a label to attach to it. I had a lot of jumping around in my cognitive orbit. I grew up with an affiliative family. You can ask questions about the family dynamics, Chase. I mean, I could keep running my mouth, but
it's not a bad thing. When you say neuroplastic, what do you mean by that? Like, can you give me some specific examples, or why are you using that terminology?
Neuroplasticity. The coin that I heard it used in had to do with basic meditation and getting your mind into brain waves, whether those waves be beta waves, alpha waves, gamma waves, right? When you get into that deep gamma wave state, that's when you can actually start manifesting your reality to what's true and what's false for you in terms of your own personal future. Now, when it comes to neuroplasticity right now, as I said, in terms of Jungian four-sides dynamic, I mean neuroplasticity as in cognitive orbit, cognitive axis, cognitive battlegrounds, X, Y, Z.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. It'd be pretty interesting to discuss guidance functions when we get to them. We did Cutting Edge last night. And you were there for that when we were discussing guidance functions, which traditionally is, according to the MBTI, is basically like how does your hero relate to your parent function, etc. And that's kind of the basis behind that. But more on that later. So in terms of typing, folks, I have, let's see if my other screen actually works here for the stream. Let me just remove the Discord out of the way here. So no reason for it to be there. But yeah, folks, we have UDJA. It's at udja.app. If you don't have access to it, please get access to it. And we're going to be going right along using this interface for typing Robert this evening. So I hope you folks are present and able to enjoy that happening as we're doing this. So I'm going to be switching back and forth between UDJA and us right here on the camera. That way we can all follow along. But yeah, let's follow along and typing Robert. It's been he's a really cool guy. I've really enjoyed him, especially a lot of his comments and banter in the live stream chat. It's been a lot of fun. And he's very well studied about everything that we talk about here within the community, which is pretty awesome. And we got a bunch of people that have joined us. Got over 30 people now. We got Yasmin, Joe Blogs, and Cody, someone named Ninja Panda the Third, Avocado Heart, Boris Van Droof is present. Nice to have you in the house this evening, good sir. And some names I've never even seen before, which welcome. So before we begin, let's ask the audience what type you think this gentleman is. Please post it in here. We have one who says ESTP. We have another one that says INTP. Another one that says INTX, INTP, ENFP, INTP with a lowercase p, which according to Socionics would technically be INTJ. And then just Phil randomly saying, "Good day, Chase." right, governor. And intellectual is a beast. Yeah, heyo. Okay, cool. Lots of people here, and including logical perspective. Good times. So, if you could just give us like a little bit more background about yourself, like what growing up, like how many siblings did you have? What's your relationship with your parents? What's your relationship with your siblings? How did that work out for you? Like, how was your family unit growing up?
Sure. I grew up with a fellow, or I believe, right? I grew up with somebody in my house that was very attention-seeking, right? She was an ESFP, and with that FI parent development growing up, trauma in her past and whatnot, and in affiliative parents, it was just difficult. The mechanics were fairly broken. How did I grow up? Me personally, back in my experience, it was something to remember, something that I wouldn't trade for anything, because that essentially makes my identity and who I am, and has allowed me to delve deep into, socionics. Being alone most of my life, essentially, has helped me in terms of studying people and the relationship between people, relationships, relationship management, the whole 9 yards. And Chase's system here, that is put together of multiple doctors and well-qualified people, has completely and will completely change academia, sociology, and the way we communicate in general.
All right. Thank you for the kind words. Now, you had mentioned something involving your affiliative parents. So you have a very pragmatic sister, and what would be like are you very close with your sister? Are you very close to your parents? Like,
yeah. So the relationship with my sister is so she's an ESFP. The relationship with the sister is very we were loud together. Let's just say that. We were very loud together. Although she would look for me for advice, that the SI nemesis is worried about the tradition and the way their parents think, and the NI inferior is scared of their own future. So I had to essentially be her guidance, in a way, teach her to an extent.
Are you older than her?
I am. She is 18.
Okay. All right. And okay, so you're 21, she's 18, and what was some of the biggest complaints that your parents had about you and about her, basically growing up?
Oh, unstructured, lazy. You need structure in your life. Just get it done right now. Just do it right now, then you have freedom to do what you want later. It's like, bullshit. You're gonna tell me to do 10 other things.
Yeah.
You affiliative motherfuckers. Put me to work. I work for myself.
Oh my God. That's like the same speech I gave my own parents. Oh man. Yeah, I totally identify with that. Oh yeah, you want me to get it done right now just so you could progressively favor and ask me to do even more than that? What types are your parents? You're
never gonna guess. So we got a shadow focused INFP as a father, okay? And what do you know? And then you have a shadow focused ESFJ, and she's big in corporate America. She's really been able to access TI inferior and TI aspirational to develop that sort of discipline, duty, management side. But at the same time, she does have a well-developed shadow. Just because she's old and she's wise, because of the Christian religion and Christianity gives the affiliative wisdom, believe it or not, because they genuinely believe that it's true.
Yeah. So you were raised in a Christian family, kind of like I was, basically.
Private school.
Oh, so you weren't even in public school.
No.
I was a pastor's kid. That was difficult, to say the least. So So what is like a typical day look for you? Like, do you have a job? Are you going to school right now? What are you doing like with your time in general?
Yeah, so right now I say that I'm on vacation, right? I say that I'm retired, okay? So I got lucky with a couple good investments in 2020, and I've been able to rest on my laurels a bit and develop what I consider my shadow, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, and there's nothing wrong with that, at least wrong, right? Blah, blah, blah. I don't have a problem with it because I know where I'm going and I know the future. I know the way in which my future is moving, if that makes sense.
Okay. So, do you have like a best friends, or like what are you,
Yes.
what's your close friend circle looking like?
So my closest friends, I would say, in my life, I have an ISTP friend. He was a jet mechanic for 7 years. He worked on fighter jets, and he went inside fighter jets, cleaned out the turbines, compressed air, gas tanks, the weapons. He had to clean out the gas tanks. He would sit in the runway, and he was telling me all this cool stuff, and I'm like, damn, you got a good life. That's pretty sweet. I also have an INFJ friend. We go and play volleyball together with the affiliative. It's fun. We have the affiliative sort of, the ENFJ, the ESTP old man out there. So it's a good life in terms of what we got going on right now.
So are you planning on going into entrepreneurship?
And that's such a hard term to coin these days, because entrepreneurship, it's just like, if you need is it a job? I mean, entrepreneurship is what, getting a contract with this constant stream of money? Is that what it is? Is it a constant stream of income? Is that how you classify entrepreneurship? That's through your LLC? Is that how you classify entrepreneurship? Or is it working towards passion projects? You know what I mean? Is it whipping out the camera and spitting words, spitting facts, waking people up, trying to essentially enlighten them and bring some energy into their life? Is that what? But I mean, that's a total moral subjective bullshit. That was kind of bullshit. But it's just, I don't know what you mean by entrepreneurship. To know more.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, basically, running your own business. It could be anything from real estate investing.
Yeah.
It could be...
And so I do like the idea of trucks, believe it or not. Truck driving license. I think the average median over-the-road trucker I saw on Indeed makes about $77,000 a year. So that puts me in the top of my bracket. Being 21, 22 years old. So it's pragmatic, it's simple, and eventually I have a business mindset. So I would want to run my own truck. And those guys net anywhere from 200 to 300 a year. They take home probably $100,000 of that, and then they put 2 to 3 back in expenses. You know what I mean? Because they have to reinvest in whatnot on oil changes, maintenance, etc.
Yeah. So all right, cool. Let me reset, and we're gonna be looking at UDJA here. So I'm gonna switch the screen. Let's. Oh my God. Stop. Come on, reset button. There we go. All right, cool. That worked. So we're going to head on over to UDJA. So here's UDJA, folks. So basically, Robert, out of all of these that we have, like, in terms of, if we're just going to look at worldview alone, and if we're going to do affiliative versus pragmatic, which one do you think you are and why? Like, what is the argument that you would present to be like, I am affiliative or I am pragmatic because of XYZ examples, etc. within your life? How would you go about responding to that?
Well, obviously, very clearly, we just went over one. My parents were both affiliative. They grew up in academia. My dad's got his master's. My mom has her bachelor's. My mom's high in corporate world. My dad's a teacher. It's just like, oh, okay. So here's the difference. What are you asking me? The difference in how affiliative versus pragmatic relates into my life? Is that what you're asking me?
You could answer that way. That's okay. Fine. But also, like, which one do you identify with more and why, and maybe provide some examples to support that.
Okay. Here's why I feel as if I'm pragmatic. I feel like I'm pragmatic because pragmatism itself is just what makes sense. It's essentially what's in front of you to an extent. It's more primal. It doesn't coincide with the large social institutions of today's society. It doesn't coincide with policy, right? It doesn't coincide with mass mandates, maybe vaccine mandates. Pragmatic people tend to be more independent and individualistic in that sense. So I think that I'm pragmatic.
Okay, that's fair. You have made a lot of statements, and for the audience, just for definition reasons, I'll define the two. Affiliative people prefer to ask permission rather than forgiveness, and teamwork makes the dream work, to kind of quote it out. And then the definition of pragmatism is prefers to ask forgiveness instead of permission. If you want something done right, do it yourself. And throughout this entire conversation, you've been pretty independent with even leading the conversation in certain aspects, and you didn't ask permission at all. You haven't asked me permission for anything this entire interaction that we've been talking to each other. So I'd have to agree that pragmatic is definitely where you lie. And folks, just for reference, here's a picture of what's on UDJA. Hitting just pragmatic eliminates 8 of the 16 types right here, and makes it pretty simple, as a result. But we're going to turn the tips back on just so we can do that. So yeah, that's pretty obvious. Okay, so let's and then the next question I would have for you, let's do initiating versus responding. Which one would you say that you are in terms of initiating versus responding? Because trying to handle some of more of the obvious ones before we get into more complicated ones first.
This is actually an interesting question, because I consider myself an extrovert. I consider myself to like attention here and there, right? But when I'm in public, I don't talk to people. I'm quiet, because in the end, I think Chase, that you said this, over the course of time, just watching you, I heard this sprinkled in. It was, I don't like being obligated. I don't want to initiate with somebody and then be obligated to them. I don't want, because I feel as if it would take away, one, my freedom of choice and my comfort. My comfort actually becomes first now, because my comfort is where my boundaries lie, and that's the bottom line. I'm okay with my freedom of choice being taken away for a bit of time, but my comfort is primal. It's first, because if I can't set any boundaries to people around me, then I'm gonna feel always obligated to help people and be a total doormat.
Yeah, that's like story of my life. I mean, I've even been having to deal with that recently, actually, like even with my own family, because recently, some financial struggles in my life, and asking family for assistance, and I'm like, okay, apparently I can't do that, because I'm just perceived as this person who's just automatically irresponsible by default, because I don't follow the affiliative bouncing ball in my life, and because, how dare you, Chase, not, go to school, go to college, get a job, or join the military like everybody else, when, and it's like, I'm sorry, but you're from another antiquated generation who doesn't actually understand the reality of right now, and I'm being judged that way? Yeah, no. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I completely, I would put a point down for you on initiating hardcore, because you often, like, even mid-sentence, sometimes change the subject as you go. You initiate additional points. I mean,
a deeper point.
When I first met you, you're just like, oh, hey, Chase, this. And I'm like, yes, initiating, so definitely. Yes. So I'm going to adjust the camera here again, and I apologize, folks. I don't have the correct camera tonight. All my angles are completely screwed up, and it's because the Wi-Fi connection in this building is horrible, and I don't recommend it for anybody. But these are the types that are remaining, the remaining types we have left. Just off of initiating and pragmatic alone, we have ESTP, ENTJ, ESFP, and ENTP left over, just off of those 2 points. Now remember, folks, if you don't have an account on UDJA, get one. All right, go to udja.app or just go to csjoseph.live, click the take the personality test, and then just make an account. And just remember, when you make your account, the very first account that you make, just remember, really, really important, that, hey, by the way, you have to test yourself first before the other options unlock. So the first time you take the test, you got to take it for yourself, and then the rest of the options unlock. I don't know why, for some reason, it hasn't been telling people that, but we're trying to get that fixed. And also, please submit feedback on how we can make this application better at support@csjoseph.life. That way, we can tell the devs to know what they're doing, and they do know what they're doing. It's just like we want to make sure that what you folks care about is stuff that they're working on. You know what I'm saying? So that's really how it goes. All right, so we got pragmatic, initiating, and whatnot. So where would you like to take it? Where would you like to take it next if you had a choice?
Not my show.
Not your show. All right. I love how you said that. Oh gosh, not my show. Dang. I think we're gonna get into some very interesting areas right now. I'm very happy. All right. So let's ask the audience. Okay, audience. What do you guys want to do? Direct versus informative, progression, outcome, systematic interest, abstract, concrete, fire and wind, earth and water, spirit and bow, sword and mace. Where do you guys want to go next? Come on, tell me what you guys are thinking. That's what I want to see. Thank you, Malcolm, for that statement. Really? Come on. Yeah. I won't hurt you. Don't do that. Oh my God. Oh, we have another vote for ESTP in here. Yasmin. Okay. Yes. And there you're getting spam. Okay. They want direct versus informative next. That's what it is. All right. Direct versus informative. So, which are you, sir, and why? What do you think?
All right. You want me to tell you, or do you want to get it on me?
I want you to tell me, but I want you to provide examples from your life as to why. Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. I know. How about this? I know as if I'm direct. And the reason for that is because when I was young, I'm not going to initiate to that subject, but I have an excellent example of SI parent and the affiliative society as we know it. I'll get back to that. I know that I'm direct because when I go out and I talk to people, like a cashier, for example, right? I went to the Dollar Tree today to get some gallons of water. I went to the Dollar Tree. I took the gallons of water. I set them on the little conveyor belt. They rolled forward, right? And she's all looking at me. I don't say anything. Nothing. Zero. You think I'm gonna talk to the cashier? Like that's my energy. That's my thoughts. That's my actions. That when I'm talking to you guys, I'm talking to 107 people right now, and I'm talking because I know it has value. So that being said, when it comes to being direct, I will speak only if I need to, and that's just an abstract term in terms of the present and the future. I can go on a tangent in terms of my past, but I think I made a point.
No problem. Cool. So he says direct, and we're going to be going over to the definitions right now. And according to UDJA, direct is defined as say what you mean what you say, prefers decision making over giving context, versus informative, provides additional context and information so the other person can make a decision. And then obviously you can hit the read more button and then just read way more about it. Now, awesome. Now, my response, I disagree. Okay, that you're direct.
What if it's all neuroplasticity, my friend?
It could be. It really could be. But let's examine why. Is that throughout this conversation is that you have provided additional information that yes. I've never even asked for. Like, for example, going into because I asked you like what your relationship is with your sister versus versus your parents, etc. And you went on a tangent talking about childhood trauma, and then you became a mentor to her, but then like essentially be her guidance, being unstructured, etc. But and then you also started talking about neuroplasticity, and that was a completely different subject that you injected in the conversation as part of initiating, but you're providing additional information. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. I didn't necessarily ask about your mom being involved with corporate America, but you added that additional piece of information.
But it's needed. it's needed to understand the full concept.
Okay, yes. Quote, it is needed to understand the full concept. Informative provides context and information so the other person can make a decision to understand.
Yes,
You're providing
fair.
it's needed. You're adding context. That's
Very
my
fair.
point.
Very
You're adding context. So that's why I'm gotta be like, I don't know, man. I'm seeing informative here.
All right, we'll go with informative.
We'll go with informative. Great. I love the attitude. Now, because informative is chosen, automatically progression is the only option that's available. You have to be movement. Dude, you are moving AF right now. Hardcore. Bouncing up and down in that,
You know what it
that
is,
chair,
right?
just like I am, Like, oh my God.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Not concrete or abstract. That's or whatever the audience wants.
Yeah, well, it's not well, yeah. I mean, your statement, whatever the audience wants, that too is an NE statement.
It is. Yes, it is. I'm aware.
Progression being journey oriented. You haven't really talked about outcomes this entire conversation.
No.
And you have been like extremely abstract this entire time. And, just on that alone, not even looking at your cognitive functions, the results ENTP, not ESTP.
Interesting.
Just straight up. I mean,
that's interesting, Chase.
Yeah. Especially you're talking to me about like this girl that you're seeing and whatnot, with her being an ISTP, that would put you guys in an intrigue relationship, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Nice. But then also, like, here's another thing, though. Like, if we want to, like, really, here, I got to switch the camera mode here. So, like, looking at Ucha and whatnot, so let's just hit the reset, guys. Let's just blow this away, okay? And then take the tips away. We're blowing it away. We know pragmatic and initiating for sure, because that's what we started. That's, like, the super easy stuff that we could just get right off the bat. But Robert here, folks, he has been all about giving these amazing details about his past. Like crazy details. Like, for example, because I have this thing where I type out like every word that someone says for the most part. And then he's like, you said, when I'm in public, I don't talk to people. And it's like, I don't like being obligated. I don't like to initiate with somebody. Comfort's where my boundaries lie. And your speech about comfort, that was so important to me. And like, that's like straight up earth and water. Like, talk about introverted sensing and giving exact details, like about, for example, going, went to Dollar Trees, that's water, cashier didn't look at me, I didn't say anything, that's my energy, and that's my thoughts, that's also an abstract statement. I'm talking because I know it has value, said every TI parent ever. Oh my God. Said every TI parent ever. So earth and water would make sense because you're remembering those exact specific details while also making a whole bunch of I statements at the same time. Yes. You weren't really talking about other people. Not really. Right. And so as a result of that, I have no choice but to personally conclude earth and water, which also supports the ENTP thing. And then sword and mace is pretty obvious because you're very matter of fact. Now, TI parent, while I'm an ENTP, I'm informative. I can be really direct with people, sometimes to the point of being a total asshole, straight up, because it's just like, boom, that's what I'm going to tell you. Because I had to, like, give myself permission to, after being so shadow focused for so long, because, like, for example, in the context of being in my own family, I'm the only pragmatic person in my family. The rest of them are all affiliative. And they always trying to make me do the right thing. They just assume I'm going to be irresponsible with everything, including money, for example. They're always assuming that about me. When the reality of the situation is that, like, for so long, they wanted me to be the source of introverted feeling in the family itself. And that's what caused me to become shadow focused, because I'm trying to provide, they're always asking me all the time, to the point of like almost gaslighting, but it's like, hey, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? And they're expecting me to have this moral behavior that I can't do. And because my parents already have themselves as the TI users roles in the family, and all of a sudden I'm supposed to be forced to deal with the fact that my younger sister is a TI user as well. Also not fair. It's literally just a family of TI users and nothing else. It's really frustrating. And it's like I didn't even have a voice. It's like my voice didn't even count within my own family, right? So it took me a long time to just give myself permission to actually be TI parent. I had to give myself that affiliative permission for my FE in order to actually allow my TI parent to come out. And that was a huge problem for me personally. But you you're just stating the facts. You're stating with what you know, and you know a lot, especially about like the content within this community. You know a lot, and you're very matter of fact about it. And I think this is why you think that you're direct, because a TI parent, even if you're an ENTP, you can still come off direct at certain times, if not almost half the time. But you're also producing additional information to add context either before or after you're direct with the TI that you're saying, because you're going to make your TI statement, but it's like, okay, am I going to have to prove it to the person? Do they need additional information? Or do they actually already understand what I'm saying? Because that's the thing about ENTPs, man. It's like, it would be nice if people would just like understand me by default, but no, I haven't really met very many of those people. And you'd think those are INJs. You'd think those are ISPs. But no, like, because just because there's someone's compatible with you doesn't mean they're articulate, doesn't mean they're like well read. It doesn't mean any of that. You see what I'm saying? And that could be like a huge problem, as a result. So if you're really, and switching cameras here, if you really are Earth and Water and Sword and Mace, then that would make you by default a Crusader type. And what does a Crusader type mean? So Crusader type is life is about sacrifice and enduring hardship for the sake of fostering justice and fairness. And like your statement about like, well, I'm not going to say that because that's my energy. That's like me on the inside. Why do I have to share with that person, etc.? Why do I have to do that, right? And that's dope. That's so dope, because it's like you're like already aware of how unfair that would be, that you're being forced to do that as part of your pragmatism, because you don't want to be like unfair AF. You know what I'm saying? And because you try to be fair to other people, so you expect to get that fairness back to you. And it's like, why the hell is like no one being fair? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, like fairness is just it's everything, And even the audience has been raving about this, but it's like straight up like abstract. You're so abstract with all these abstract concepts, and then adding an additional abstract concept. Like I didn't talk about neuroplasticity. You did, like straight off the bat. That was awesome. Talking about your energy, your vibe, also abstract concepts, but doing it constantly, not like a little bit every now and then, like a concrete person would, but like super mega abstract as a result. So going back to, again, switching cameras. So informative progression. We didn't talk about systematic versus interest. We didn't talk about that. And the reason why is because initially it seemed like that would have been the most difficult vector with which to apply that to you. But the reason why it just ended up becoming unimportant after a while, because the systematic approach seemed, especially when you started talking about like, okay, yeah, I made some money in 2020, and then you start talking about potentially being a trucker, being an entrepreneur, that type of thing, and then having that entire system laid out, because you like went step by step through that entire process, that entire journey, what that journey would look like, including even adding in additional information I didn't ask for about like, $200, $300, a month in savings for this thing because that's what they do, etc. Yeah, I totally get it. But again, that's a very systematic approach, because you're trying to find the best way to do it. So you're mimicking what other people would potentially do and hoping that's the best way, until obviously you experiment with it, realize that that's not the way to do it, or maybe it is, who knows, and then do it differently. Here's another thing. I'll be honest. Like, I have never heard of an ESTP making it big on investments in 2020 based on something that they anticipated with their SE hero. No, that screams extrovert intuition, prediction, and prescience, and being able to see in the future.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I didn't find the project myself. I had some guy screaming down my ear to freaking buy it, because I paid him decent money to basically hang out with him, and he was just one of those mentor guru guys. He sold coke in the 80s, so he's very cool.
Yeah. I totally get it. And it's nice to have your introverted sensing told what to do and then have it be a total success. I mean, that's the dream, man. That's like, oh, hallelujah. But instead, for example, I have my wife earlier this week give me a huge speech about how she's like, there is no one-size-fits-all system. You have to look at all of the systems and break them down into tiny pieces and then create a completely new one. And then she's like, your FI trickster needs to stop putting faith into a one-size-fits-all system because that's how you get screwed. And I'm like, oh my God, my INTJ shadow focus is coming out in my marriage right now, and she's right, and I'm embarrassed with my INTJ side of my mind, and like, oh dang, yeah, I should probably grow up in that area. So, that's been an area of growth for me personally, sharing a fun story of my marriage, my kindred relationship marriage with you folks, because, yeah, I mean, she's right. I'm leading with FI Trickster at that moment, believing in this ideal, because the FI Trickster is the FI child of the INTJ shadow, and it's like, oh, I'm being really idealistic with my FI child superiority complex inside of the bucket of an FI Trickster, and there has to be a one-size-fits-all system. There just has to be. It's going to work for everything, right? No, it's not. That's not really. That's not what it's going to be.
Right.
But I got some questions. How am I going to focus, right? I got some questions.
It's a problem.
It's a problem. So, I need to know, like, who are the people who you criticize the most in your life, in general?
TI inferior.
But I mean, like, is this your mom? Is this your dad? Is this your sister? Like, who are these people? Like,
in my sure, like my immediate life, who do I have problems with?
Yeah.
Those problems may not. I may not bring problems up with those people. Like, if I'm gonna look at the affiliative family, it's kind of just like, don't talk to them, don't look at them, don't do anything that's gonna rough them up, don't do anything that's might rub them the wrong way. Because honestly, it's to the point where it's just like they're so deep within the matrix that we there's nothing we can really do. So the way it is.
Yeah, that's a roundabout way of saying I can't tell you that. And that's fair.
Okay, ask another one.
So what are the top 5 criticisms people say to you in your life? The top 5 things that people criticize you about.
Okay, this is a good one. No outcome.
No outcome. Yes. That's
seriously.
You must get that from your dad all the time.
Yep.
All right, that's number 1. What else?
What else recently? Don't do it like that.
Don't do it like that.
Don't do it like that.
It sounds like it came from the girlfriend.
Let's see, what's another one that I get? Oh, jeez.
Don't do it like that. That's like telling Tony Stark to not build his Iron Man armor in a certain way, and it's like, really?
Here's another good one. This was an ENTJ. This is an ENTJ sales manager. He had 20 years in the Air Force. Don't try and reinvent the wheel.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I am the wheel.
Yeah, that's a good one. What else?
Yeah. Okay. There's. I'm gonna do 2 more, right? Let's see. Oh, you're not listening to me. But I get told that by another TI parent, so it's kind of just like butthead type stuff. One more. One that I've gotten recently. Let's think. Oh, I can't read your energy.
Oh my God, yeah.
From an INFJ, NI inferior. That's from an NI inferior last night. Believe it or not, from the INFJ subconscious.
Yeah.
I can't read your energy, even though I'm like 19 and I have no life experience, and like I'm just an INFJ focused. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, yeah. It's like you're looking at dating profiles and you just realize like, oh, so I'm supposed to be this person that's supposed to serve women in general. Apparently, that's my role as a man. It's like just like, oh, you're not going to go on a date with me unless like I give you a bunch of sushi for free. And I'm like, wow, apparently I'm nothing more than a mother effing vending machine to these people. And it's just so
chivalry, my friend.
And then they expect me to be okay with their dog, and yet women just don't understand understand that on their dating profiles that the number one turnoff men have is when they post photos of themselves with animals or even talk about their animals. Like, come on. If you're a woman and you're on a dating app and you're not getting a date, take your animals off and don't ever talk about them. Ever. Yeah. Like, if you're not willing to put your man or your potential boyfriend above your own animals, get out and why don't you go invest in some cat food or some dog food and do us all a favor and get off the freaking market because you shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I just get so triggered over that. All right, cool. So don't do it like that. No outcome. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. I am the veal. You're not listening to me. I can't read your energy.
I can't read your energy. I can't read your aura. Oh my gosh, because I'm witchy and I'm an NI inferior and I'm 19 years old.
Oh yeah, that sounds.
It's fun though because honestly, I get to clean her up. If I'm gonna be honest, 6 months she'll be straight. Sorry.
Not a bad thing. I mean, hey, hypergamy will change its optimization to fit the situation, man. It's all good. Like. All of a sudden the war happens and then there's a baby boom. I wonder why. I mean, that never happens. Oh God, so that never happens. All right, so can't read. Okay, so you're not listening. So now when this person is telling you you're not listening to me, is it more like is it like you're not hearing me, or is it like you're not hearing me and doing what I say at the same time? Because is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a TI parent, and it's an ENTP, and he wanted it. He had this business idea, and he wanted me to do this. He's 55 years old. His mom died, and so he got a big inheritance, and so he's trying to put it into this business, and so he wanted me to basically manage the sales for him. But apparently, I didn't listen to him and do anything he said because he was projecting ISTJ on me. So it was fairly difficult. So we don't work together. We don't work on it. I said no. I'm done. That's it, my friend.
How often do you deal with despair and worry about your own future? And I'm not talking depression. I'm talking like despair, as in oh crap, this might not go well for me.
Right. Not too often. Not too often. I would say that I'm fairly emotionally balanced where I can objectify those emotions. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, okay, I feel X because Y. I feel, the way it is. It's kind of like, okay, why do I feel this? What are external or internal factors that have caused me to feel or think this certain thing? And that's just basic self-awareness. You know what I mean? I'll use the 4 sides of the mind as a mapping tool. Where am I? You know what I mean? So that's basically that's the best answer I can give you.
All right, that's fair. Okay, so I have no choice then, based on what you just said, to conclude that you're shadow focused, INTJ focused.
Really?
Yes. At first I was actually really towards the subconscious focused, but the thing is that as subconscious focused, ENTP would be making a lot more affiliative statements throughout, and especially when it comes to when people criticizing you. And because then you'd present their criticisms, and then we'd find out your reaction to those criticisms that you have, and your reactions, none of them are really affiliative. You never end up, you don't lead with the guilt or potential guilt of oh hey, maybe I did the wrong thing here, etc. Where you for example, the sales manager, you're like, oh yeah, I did the wrong thing according to him, and that's a more pragmatic standpoint. Also, you'd be a little bit more more outcomes would be coming out as a result, and you're being criticized, no outcome. You know what I'm saying? It's okay, there's a higher investment, mental investment, ego investment into being progression, and that's because your unconscious will be bleeding through your ego to push you more in the direction of progression. It's like a double helping of progression, whereas an ISFJ focused ENTP would be a little bit more balanced in terms of progression versus outcome. Now, it may be easy for you to think that, okay, yeah, but I could have been outcome, but the reason why is because your anti-nemesis is so pronounced. You don't deal with... Go ahead. You muted. Or did I mute? Did I mute?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, cool, great.
All right. So it's NI ally. It's not NI nemesis.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
really not.
Which is indicative of development over time with your shadows, because you are actually going out of your way to collect the data and not just rely on learning from your own mistakes. Like, for example, you hired this guru guy who helped you with investment advice. You got pretty successful as a result. An ISFJ focused ENTP who's just going to follow the traditional bouncing ball, go to school, go to college, get a job, which is everything my parents wanted me to do.
Sexless, marriageless.
Oh yeah, no enjoyment or fulfillment in life whatsoever. No. You care way more about fulfillment than you would an ISFJ focused ENTP. Fulfillment is all about using your fourth and fifth functions together, basically, because they're both SI and NI, and ETPs all have that, or EPs, actually. Quite frankly, it's EPs. ESTP, ESFP, ENTP, ENFP all have that perspective. So when you're looking at cognitive focus, you seem to be hyper-focused on fulfillment, whereas with an ISFJ-focused ENTP, they're really just more, they have an open mind that is centered on tradition and following the bouncing ball in life, whereas your mind is open to finding the alternative, original, unique way of doing things, while simultaneously opening yourself up to, I don't have to do it all completely by myself, in that I can still learn what other people are doing and learn what other people know to enrich myself. I don't necessarily have to just, quote, follow the rules and find out, because that could take a lot of time. You could waste a lot of time. You could waste years. Hey, I wasted years doing that. You see what I'm saying? With $120,000 in debt and then many years of homelessness, you know, dealing with the fact that my family never actually taught me masculinity in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And then expect me to be feminized the entire time. And very self-sacrificing for people that don't actually do anything for me personally. And then they expect to receive all the benefit without any of the responsibility themselves. Welcome to my family. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's not a life I want to live. That's and that's also not a family life at home that I want to promote, you know. And the fact that you reject that entire notion and you're not open to that and you're very close to that is indicative of shadow focus, you know. No outcome, that criticism. Because, like, determining cognitive focus, the usual litmus test is you really just got to look at how people criticize you and the level of criticism that they do. And those criticisms you can actually utilize to identify, you know, where you're at with it. Like, so for example, here's another way of doing it. So we haven't released our Enneagram, but I'll give a little sample of what our Enneagram does. Like, identifying someone's criticisms of you points you to what your personal deadly sin is. There's 8 total deadly sins. I know people are like, oh, there's only 7. Actually, there's originally 8, but the church got rid of one because they didn't want to look bad. And the one they got rid of is vainglory. Vainglory belongs to INTJ and ESFP types. That's their deadly sin. But ISFJ, ENTP types, their deadly sin is the deadly sin of envy, right? So yeah, envy would be by default because ENTP is your ego. But do you have a double helping of envy? Are you very envious, or is it more about vainglory? You see what I'm saying? And these criticisms that are given to you is more actually, and you being offended, like especially like, I can't read your energy. Like, you being really offended by that offends your vainglory deadly sin. Yeah. So you have a balance between the envy versus vainglory, and which means I have no choice but to conclude you're INTJ focused ENTP, just off of that. You know, just based on how you're reacting to these people's criticisms, basically. Because criticism, a person's reaction to criticism and what people's criticisms are of that person is really the fastest way to indicate a person's cognitive focus. You know, and then obviously we'll have our own Enneagram, which won't be called Enneagram. It'll be something Gram, or maybe it won't be Gram anything. I don't know. Who cares? Maybe we'll just name it our own thing. But it will basically show you the specific variants, subvariants that you are of your type, and this is kind of one of the ways that we go about doing this. So, but yeah, and the INFJ in the chat is barfing over, I can't read your energy. Fair enough. So anyway, as a result, I have no choice but to conclude that you're an ENTP who is INTJ focused. in my personal professional opinion.
I'm all ears, man. I'm all about it.
Yeah, it's dope, and you're totally cool, man. You're killing it. You're just killing it. Even the hair, it's classic ENTP hair. It's great. You know, I need to fix this. What the hell is this? It just needs to be shaved.
I like it. It's very SE Demon oriented.
It's very SE Demon. I just don't care. Like, dude, I went to Krav Maga for the first time since like I broke my foot, and then like my instructor's like, "What is up with everybody having mohawks?" And I looked at him like, it's just midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Either that or it's Cobra Kai. I can't tell.
Either or. Yeah.
Either or.
It could be either or. There you go.
Yeah. It could be. Who knows? But at least it's not red. You know what I'm saying? Who knows if I should get some coloring in my hair next.
Get some color in there. Yeah.
Yeah, get some color. Just kind of go out. SE Demon. Don't care. ESFP this up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Why not?
Purple, red, yellow. I think those would be
yellow. Good. Oh yeah, just like just get some B colors like B, and then just creepily stand around people, just start making weird buzz noises. Who knows?
Oh yeah, that would be good. You could probably get benefits from the government if you were in California.
Oh yeah, just like they have this bill right now in the assembly talking about, hey guys, you can't have a job and not be vaccinated. And I'm like, wow, I think every pragmatic person is going to leave that state. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So yeah. Also, I'm not a fan of David Hogg for... that's not what you were referring to in the audience. Okay, my bad. All right, folks. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you, Robert, for coming. It was fantastic. You're one of my favorite people in the community. I love your comments. I love your participation. It's been great. The energy is great. I can read your energy. No, I'm just kidding.
I know you know. But people, it's esoteric, man. Only a couple will understand.
I know, right?
The reality of the situation.
Never not go full hidden occult esoteric mode because
dude, I'm thinking about putting together a language for what you got. I've done it already.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So let's see what we got. So yeah, that's it.
Cool, man. All right. I'll see y'all later, and thanks for watching, folks. And who knows? I'll probably see y'all tonight. Later.